we are back with another client interview, this time with one of our great clients, Julio, the partner and founder over at DS Employment. So, in terms of that, Julio, obviously, if you could give us a quick rundown, obviously, into what DS Employment actually does, and perhaps a little bit about who you guys help too.
Yeah, so we are a staffing company based in Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa. We operate across 7 different states in the Midwest. Slowly been expanding over to the West Coast. We mainly focus on construction, even though in the past we've done a lot of like industrial and really all kinds of general staffing. But recently, just with the team that we have now, after a long restructuring, we've started focusing more on the construction and skilled trades industry.
Love it, love it. Yeah, it's a unique offer for sure because we see it. So we run a lot of marketing offers towards those construction companies too, and a lot of the times they respond back, "Hey, we don't need the work, we need the people." So when you guys said you did that, I knew that we were on with a good offer here. But obviously, in terms of my main question, and obviously what most people are here for coming for is in terms of results, right? So obviously, if you could just give a quick rundown in terms of the results, obviously before we started, and then now where we're at in terms of revenue generated. Sounds like obviously we had all those numbers on your end.
Sure. Yeah. So as far as results, the one of the things I try to do is tally up all of the calls that we've had and just get the metrics for
Sure.
the last. I think we've had this. We started mainly in like late January, early February.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Over then, I counted approximately 17 calls, although I think I was missing a month. There was probably a few more in there. Out of those 17 scheduled or leads that showed up, these were people that actually I got to meet with and had a conversation with. 9 of those were converted into clients, and up to this point, 3 of those 9 have started using our services.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so from those 3 that have started using our services, we are at 15K in revenue, and most of that has been over the last month since our ramp up process is typically a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Just due to this industry.
Makes sense. Very cool. Well, in terms of that, obviously, like you said, we were talking before this, call, and obviously it sounded like we had had account executives in the past that had struggled to maybe hit metrics that we were looking to hit here. So in terms of that, obviously, can we maybe touch on a little bit about what we were trying to do before in terms of those account executives, and obviously, the difference between what we're doing now on our side too?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's. I would say that's that's probably an equal impact as when we're comparing it to the revenue, just in the savings that I've had from not having to hire somebody,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's actually probably where I've seen the biggest impact. Not to mention the time to train everybody. That's these results that we're getting is really what you would expect a fairly new account executive, anywhere from about 6 months to be hitting. And in the past, when I've had people with much more experience that have struggled to get, even 4 client meetings in 1 month.
Yeah.
That actually show up and you have a real conversation and there's a conversion.
Yeah.
In our first month, we had 7 calls, which
Yeah.
was unexpected.
Yeah.
As I was telling Luke, it kind of caught me off guard, and I was a little unprepared just because I was expecting a longer turnaround time from my experience, but there were some people that were just ready to go. So that was a pleasant surprise and a big learning experience for sure.
It happens quick. You got to when they start coming in, you got to be ready.
Yeah.
It's great. Well, in terms of that, obviously a big thing that a lot of clients also ask is the time commitment, and obviously with it being completely done for you, right? What we really pride ourselves on is you just simply do nothing and you show up to the calls, right? So in terms of that, if you could kind of go over the time commitment on your end, maybe in terms of taking those calls, and obviously before that, what the process really looked like on your end, again, in terms of the time commitment side of things.
Sure. Yeah, it's great. I would say on average, I've had a few calls that go longer than an hour or so, but that's really all the time that I need. Besides just replying to a few emails to give you feedback, to give feedback on a potential client, or just see if they're qualified.
Sure.
It's really frankly, it's very quick. There's very little input on my end besides just showing up and talking to people about the services. It's much nicer to have these meetings with, it's a warm lead at that point.
Yeah.
Because you know that they're interested and you know that they're talking to you for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to hear it. So in terms of, as I was saying, in a big, question that a lot of the clients have is, in terms of service, they get hit up a lot in terms of lead generation companies, and they get offered a ton, right? It's a very common offer. So in terms of, had we perhaps had any misconceptions, or maybe a better word would be preconceived notions in terms of, obviously, the lead generation company side of things, obviously, before you joined on here?
Yeah, so this is my first time kind of being this involved with lead generation company. In my previous roles, I was the account executive, so I just
you were the one doing
for me,
it.
so, right, I wasn't having to provide the feedback. I was just kind of expected to call and try to make it happen. But in this case, I would say, the lead generation is just especially tough in these industries when there's so much competition.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time to just even get one solid lead of somebody that's interested, let alone somebody that's qualified that's actually a perfect match for your services. So regardless of what avenue you take, there's always going to be fine tuning. Initially we did a couple of, we changed the wording a little bit, trying to just specify to make sure that it comes across as our company, right? Because you're essentially representing our company.
Absolutely.
So I was ultimately happy with just how quick that fine tuning took and how easily we were able to see the results.
I love that.
Seeing the metrics at the end of the month of all the all the industries that we targeted, how many people actually responded, how many meetings were booked. You can just directly see an impact from the feedback that we give you, which is, I think, what is really important for a lead generation company.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you want it to actually represent your company and come across as somebody that, that way you're not meeting with somebody random that is expecting something completely different. So.
Yeah. I think that's a really key point you touched on there, because obviously, like you said, we're essentially, it looks like we're a BDR, SDR within your guys' company, right? So obviously it's super important that our messaging that we're sending out is completely aligned with you guys, right? Because obviously if there's two different expectations set, right, that could cause a lot of problems. So I think that was a really good point there. And in terms of, obviously, Julio, really last question I would have for you on, obviously, our end is, I'm sure there's other agencies watching this, video maybe before, maybe we've had a sales call, and they're in the process of potentially thinking about coming on board. So, in terms of that, is there anything that you may potentially tell another agency who may be on the fence about, joining on about something like this?
Yeah, I think one thing is to be prepared, right? When you do turn on this service, it like I said, there's some fine tuning that goes into it, but if you put in the work and you give proper feedback, the results are impressive. I will say, like I said, it's impressive what we've gotten so far, not counting the potential that we had with some of these that we were just not prepared for. So, that's one of the things. But like I said, the feedback is probably the most important thing to make sure that we're working as a team. It's awesome to have the same people constantly be working with, because they slowly get to learn our business as well, and it becomes kind of an extension of our company. So for other agencies, and I might be shooting myself in the foot here with competition, but overall, I've been just very happy with your guys' service.
Great. We'll love it. Again, super appreciate you coming on and giving us your time with this interview. I know it's you're busy, but other than that, again, we'll end it off here.